Hello, welcome to the April 2020 Logos and Mythos Book Club Live. So much has happened in the past month. I think we can all agree on that. Our entire world has changed, and it feels like that happened in the blink of an eye. I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you're staying well, staying inside. I'll echo so many people, just stay inside, stay away from other people as much as possible. I know for some people that's not possible. Um, Also, I have posted a few times a graphic just asking how I can pray for you. And I just want to mention that here because I'm very serious. I would love to pray for you however I can. So if there is something that, a certain request or something, you can drop it in the comments, you can send me a message, you can email me. There are a million ways to get in touch with me, and I would love to pray for you. I hope that, like I said, I hope you're staying well. I also hope that things are going well for you and your family, and that despite everything, the month has been a good one for you. I am a little tired, so if I talk a little slower than usual or stumble over myself, you'll just know why. I'm on a deadline. I've got a client who I'm editing a book manuscript for, and it's a lot of fun. I love it, but it takes a lot of time on top of all of my regular work. But I am thankful to have this job, especially at this time. Like I said, so much has happened in the past month. It's just kind of been a whirlwind. It's been crazy. And anyway, so what I'm going to do tonight, I've got a couple of things that I wanted to talk over. And one of those is I just figured I'd start by talking about what I've been reading. As you join in, I would love to see and hear what you guys have been reading. Also, if you would like to ask for a recommendation, if you're looking for a certain kind of book, I would love to help you out with that. So just drop those in the comments as we go. And so if you're doing it live, then hopefully I can see them and I'll holler at you. I'll give you some thoughts or just see what you're reading. And if you're watching it later, then just tag me in the comment and we'll chat away that way. See, I told you I was tired. I'm talking over myself in crazy ways. All right, so since the last time we chatted, I have actually read quite a few books, and I'm sorry about my throat. It's been like this for more than a month now. I don't think it's corona, don't worry, but it's just been like this. So I have read and finished up this book, which I borrowed, and Faith, I promise I'm getting your book back. It's just, there's been this whole quarantine thing, so I haven't seen you to give you this book back. But A Hobbit, a Wardrobe, and a Great War. If you are interested in history, if you're interested in literature, if you're interested in J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, there we go. This book would be for you. If you are interested in the Great War, any of those things. This was a fascinating read. It was excellent. It was a very, very quick read, but packed with so much stuff. In fact, I would just love to go back and reread this and really just chow down on everything that's in here. A lot of really cool nuggets that I got out of this book for my own personal writing, amongst other things. I also read, and I don't have these books with me to pop up here, but I read My Heart Cries Out, and this is Paul David Tripp's devotional. I think I mentioned this last month because I think that I was reading some of these books right around the time of our last book club. This book was beautiful. I mean, absolutely gorgeous pictures, beautiful words, poetry, all pulled together with scripture, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful book. So if you're looking for something like that, I highly recommend that. Made in Hollywood, written by my dear friend Michelle Keener. She also wrote Mission Hollywood, and she's written some other books as well, which I've talked about, but I love her books. They're beautiful pictures of love and friendship and so many other things, and it's all wrapped up in faith. And so I love her books. And then my other friend, Julie Meyerson Brown, I got to read. In fact, I won her book, Road to Somewhere. And this is her second book in the Clearwater series. Clearwater is her fictional town in Northern California. And this is a town that she has created that you're going to want to move to. You don't have to have read the first book to enjoy the second. Her books kind of focus on different characters, and I enjoyed both of them. They're a lot of fun, good women's fiction reads. I also read A Bed of Roses, and this is by an author who is in the writers group in Ponchatoula, Louisiana, where I was a member last year. And her pen name is Anne Marie Jameson. So A Bed of Roses, that was a lot of fun to read about. It's set in Natchitoches, Louisiana, and in itself, that's a lovely setting to have a book. So I recommend that one. And then I have this, Perilous Confessions by Carrie Dalby. And I have not met Carrie yet, but I've spoken with her and corresponded a little bit. She lives in Mobile, in the Mobile area, so she's a nearby author as well. And this is, well, let me hold it back up. So this is a Southern Gothic. If you enjoy Southern Gothic, this is set in Mobile around Mardi Gras time, so all the Mardi Gras balls and the cruise and all of those kinds of things. It's definitely steeped in Mobile history and stuff like that. So if you're from that area or you are interested in that kind of thing, I think you'll like this one. And any of these books you can always ask me more about. So kind of what I've been doing, I know some of these books that I've been reading, it seems random, but a lot of these books I got as I was visiting some independent bookstores across the South last year. Some of these, like Carrie's book, I got from the Haunted Bookshop in Mobile, and some others that I've kind of been working my way through the pile are books that I purchased at these independent bookstores while I was kind of making the rounds and introducing them to my books and all of that kind of stuff. So that was a lot of fun last year that I got to do, and I'm just now enjoying getting to go through some of those books. Now this one did not come from one of those bookstores, but this is Coram Deo, and this is a book of poetry. And I have not written my review yet. I have finished reading this. I haven't written my review yet. It's coming, I promise. But this was written by a young poet, and I had the opportunity to chat with her a little bit a few nights ago. And guys, can I just say I am impressed with her and with her work, and I'm so excited for her and proud of her, and I can't wait to see where she goes. Her poems are full of wisdom beyond her years. She shares a lot about just life, about struggling with depression. She writes about her faith in such a beautiful way. So if you enjoy poetry and you like things like that, this is an excellent book, Coram Deo, which means before the face of God, in case you didn't know. All right, and then this one was another one of my bookstore purchases from last year, and this is Where the Line Bleeds by Jesmyn Ward. And this is the first book of hers that I've read. I'm very excited to read it. I have admired her for a number of years now, and I'm enjoying this book. I'm learning some things, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say right now, because I haven't quite finished it. I'm very close. I'm like, I don't know, 2 or 3 chapters left, I think. I want to read, and I've already got it on, I guess, the ebook version from Overdrive through my library. I have Sing Unburied Sing, I think is the one that I requested. And that's one of her later books. This was, I believe, her first one. And I wanted to read a later one to kind of compare and see how she's grown as an author. I like to study these things. And so that is what I plan to read next. That's the goal anyway. So that's what I've been reading. Alright, so I'm going to check here really quick. I'm going to move some things around, see if anyone has popped in. So like I said, if you guys have any requests for books that you would like to read, if you are looking for a certain kind of book, are you looking for a lighter read, are you looking for maybe nonfiction about something, or whatever you're looking for, just pop it in the comments and I'll do my best to help you out. And if you're watching this later, you can put it in the comments then as well, and I'll be happy to chat that way. So up next I was going to tell you guys, I have come up with my list of books. I asked you, I think at the December book club, I asked for some recommendations about fantasy books that you guys have enjoyed, that you think I would enjoy, because I'm about to start reading nothing but fantasy. Later this year I will begin outlining and then writing my fantasy series. If you guys have followed me for a while, you know that I have written a number of short stories in this world, and I've been playing around with this world for, it's been about 4 years now. So I'm very excited to dive in and get started with it all. So I have been working on a list of the books that I plan to read and kind of the order that I plan to read them. So I'm going to just share with those with you tonight, and then ask if you guys have any other recommendations, something that maybe I've missed that I don't know about, or something like that. I'd love to hear those. I'm definitely all ears. So the first one that I plan to read is, and I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right or not, so just bear with me. It's called Phantastes by George MacDonald. Now, I have a reason for wanting to read this one first. This happens to be a book that greatly inspired C.S. Lewis. It also inspired his wife, Joy Davidman, and it's one of the things they discussed in their letters before they even met each other, about how much this book influenced them. It influenced not only their writing, it influenced the way they look at writing, the way that they thought about story, and about fairy tales, and about imagination, and so many different things. So this book was really foundational for both their relationship, which is kind of a neat little aside, but also just for them as writers. I have read some of George MacDonald's work, and I really enjoy it. If you have never read any of his work, I do recommend it. It is, of course, written, well, it was written quite a while ago, so some people who don't like kind of more antiquated language may not enjoy it. I happen to love that stuff, so I love it. And I'm really looking forward to reading this, because like I said, it was kind of a work that set the stage for so many other writers who came after George MacDonald. And then the next plan is to reread all of Tolkien's works. Okay, so you guys, if you have followed me at all, you know that I adore J.R.R. Tolkien. He is my favorite author. I also consider him to be the master of the masters of fantasy. He is the ideal in my opinion. Anyway, all right, for what it's worth. So I plan to reread Silmarillion, Hobbit, and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, because his work is, well, it's my favorite. It's also, it's kind of what I aspire to. Not that well, I could never write the way that he did, and I don't think that my works will really be all that similar, probably. I don't know that I would ever really be compared to him in that way. I don't know. I think that there's enough difference to where I don't think that would even be a comparison that comes out. But the way that he writes, the way that he paints pictures, the way that, and probably more importantly, the way that he actually world builds, the way that he created his own languages and histories for the peoples in his books, and all of that kind of stuff. That is what drives me and really gets me excited when I think about writing my own fantasy. So that is really the thing that I've learned the most from Tolkien's works, and specifically from works that were published after his death by his son Christopher, who recently passed away. Any of those books that have been edited by Christopher are fantastic. I mean, they are seriously, like, you will learn more by reading through those books with all of the notes that Christopher Tolkien has put in there than any graduate degree you can think of when it comes to literature and how to write, how to build worlds, how to think about language, how to just the whole process. Because what Christopher Tolkien did was he took every little scrap of paper his dad ever wrote on, okay? I mean, and it had to be a ton, right? So he took every bit of that, and in these books you see every iteration of everything Tolkien wrote. And Christopher took and put notes in there about, okay, I worked with my dad on this, and this is what he was thinking. Like, these were the changes that he made and why, things like that. And that is the coolest thing on the planet to me. So Tolkien's works are, of course, huge. And then, if I have time, I would like to reread Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia. We'll see. And then some others that I have on my list, okay? Now, these are all going to be, I have a blog post that is hopefully coming out on Thursday. I have most of it written. I just really have to fine-tune my list that I'm going through tonight with you guys. But it will have these kind of listed out with a little bit more detail about what my plans are and why I'm wanting to read these books. So I also plan to read some books by Patrick Rothfuss and Brandon Sanderson. I've heard a lot of and read a lot of great reviews for both of them for their works. So if any of you guys have read any of their stuff, I'd love to hear about it. I know Patrick Rothfuss, as far as I understand, he has 2 books in a series, and the third one has not released, and I don't know if it will. Which is a little disappointing because it's kind of like Maggie Stiefvater's, it was supposed to be a trilogy that, well, alright, I'll talk about that in a minute. So I'll come back to that. It's Lament and Ballad are the 2 books in that series that are out by Maggie Stiefvater. And the third one has not been released. So it's disappointing when that end doesn't come. But there's still so much to learn. I also understand he has a standalone book that is related to the same world, but apparently it's very different from the series. There's not a lot of action. It focuses on one character and really develops that character and stuff like that. So some people complained that it wasn't exciting. I, however, would probably love it. I really like that kind of writing where the author just dives into this character and goes super deep with what the character's thinking and what they're how they fit into this whole giant world. So that kind of intrigues me, and that might end up being the one that I read from him. I don't know. And then Brandon Sanderson, of course I mentioned him, he's got a lot of books out. I'll have to figure out where to start there. And then I have, let me see, so my friend May Smith, who you guys probably have heard about a little bit, my co-podcaster and co-author and co-writing partner in crime. She is amazing and finds great books at thrift stores and all over the place. I have to go shopping with the girl. But anyway, this is the Lamb Among the Stars series. And, sorry, I kind of am covering up because I have my list up here, so I can't tell. Okay, there we go. I think you guys are seeing this. Anyway, The Shadow of Evening and The Power of the Night. And I have not done my research yet to see if these are the only 2 books in Chris Wally's series or not, but it claims to be a fantasy in the tradition of C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, so kind of right up my alley. So I'm definitely planning on reading those. And then there is a local author here in Slidell, and his name is Joshua. And I am not going to try to say his last name. Next time I see him, I'm going to have to find out how he says his name. Um, but I just want you guys to look at this book because there we go. He is also an illustrator and did an amazing job with this book. Even the back. I mean, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And he illustrated the children's book for another local author, Megan Lacarage. I had to stop and think how to say her name. Anyway, she has written a precious children's book that is called My Siblings Still, and it is written for children who have lost a sibling due to stillbirth or anything like that. So it is a book that is, of course, extremely emotional, but guys, it is so well done. Joshua did the illustrations, and they are gorgeous. Megan's words are beautiful, and it's a great book. So anyway, I do plan to read The Last Legend Awakened, and once again, that's another fantasy that's kind of in the vein of Lewis Tolkien kind of thing. And then also on my list, and these came, let's see, I think all of these came from recommendations from back in December, in our December book club. And one of those, let me see, Cassandra Clare's books, which a friend of mine has given me some of her books. I'm looking forward to reading through those. And then I also have on my list the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab and The Bird and the Sword Chronicles by Amy Harmon. I think that those would be some other good ones for me to read. I'm going to consider this a little bit more, but those are on the list for now. And then one other thing that I know I want to do is go back through some of Maggie Stiefvater's books. I mentioned her a few minutes ago. So she had the what was going to be a trilogy with Ballad and Lament. And I don't know what she had planned, or if she has ever even said what she planned for the third one to be called. But I would like to go back through those books, just kind of looking through some things that she did. I love the way Maggie writes. Maggie is definitely unique. She is her own person. She writes very different from anyone else. She just really does, and I love that about her. I love her. The Scorpio Races is just a magical book. I love reading that. Last year I read All the Crooked Saints. That was excellent. Every book that I've read by her so far has just been fantastic. I love how she kind of takes rules and throws them out the window, but she does it so well. Like she does things differently, and she does that well. So I like to look at how she does those things and kind of learn from her in that way. There's so much that you can learn by, sorry for my dogs, there's so much you can learn from just observing other authors and seeing their process. Also, like I mentioned earlier about reading Jesmyn Ward's later book from her after I've read this earlier book, you can learn so much from how authors evolve, how they learn, how they change, things like that. So I'm looking forward to that on both counts, reading more of Maggie's books, and then also seeing Jesmyn and her process and how she has changed as an author, how she's grown, the things that she's learned. So like I said, if you guys have any other suggestions for me for my fantasy list, let me know about them. And like I said, this post will be out on Thursday, so I'd love to hear some feedback between now and then. And then on Thursday, of course, check my page because you'll see a link to the post and you can check it out there. And then I also promised I wanted to talk about summer reading, and I'm just going to do this very quickly. So here's the plan. You guys know that I always do a summer reading challenge. I say always. This will be my third year. So I wanted to do things a little different this year. I wanted to kind of kick it up a notch and do some new things. So here are the ideas that I have, and I'm going to toss them out there, and I'd love to hear some feedback on what you think. I've played around with the idea of having a children's version that would be, I mean, it's not like it's going to be on Facebook necessarily. It would be like those of you who have kids, because I know a lot of you do, because I frequently get questions about children's books and stuff like that. So it would be something that you could take and do with your kids, and then maybe we have some posts where you guys kind of can interact with your kids with certain posts. I haven't completely figured it out. It could be like a separate group, so that way there could be a little more interaction with the kids and you, that kind of thing. So if that sounds interesting, let me know, because if it's not interesting to you guys, then we won't do it. I know my kids are like, oh, we would definitely want to do it. So that's one of the thoughts that I've had. And then another one is to do more giveaways, okay? And I'm going to toss this out here because I know that I have some other authors who watch this from time to time. So this will be the first time I'm actually presenting this idea. But my idea is to have some authors who are willing to donate their books, whether it be paperback or ebook copies, that can be some of the giveaways. Because what I would love to do is actually give away a book every week. So I'm just going to toss that out there. So if you are an author watching and you would be interested in participating in this, I will say that most of my audience is going to kind of prefer like the PG-13 and below kind of thing, as far as a ratings guideline. That's just kind of the audience that I have. So but as far as genre, like my followers are pretty diverse. They're similar to me as far as liking all sorts of different genres. So if you're interested, let me know. And if that sounds interesting to you as a reading participant, then let me know. And then if you have any other suggestions for some different things that we can do, just let me know. I'd love to hear all of your ideas and all of that stuff. I also hope to hear what you guys have been reading, what you plan to read this summer. And then other than that, I will see you guys in May. I hope that this year, yay, Julie, I'm so excited. So Julie's in. I just gave away her book a few weeks ago. I did that like kind of slyly. I thought I was going to do it on one of these, but when everything crazy happened this last month, I just decided that somebody needed a book, and so I did it a little early, and I'm glad that I did. It worked out really well. So yeah, and just be safe and stay home, and I hope that you guys have a good month. I hope that things look very different when we get back together in May than they do right now. So keep reading, read more books, and when you do, share with us, let us know what you're reading, and be sure to leave reviews for those authors who you're reading. Have a great month. Bye.